Today I'd like us to consider a woman named JOCHEBED and see what we can learn from her. JOCHEBED was the wife of a man called Amram and mother of Miriam, Aaron, and Moses. Though she's not mentioned by name in Exodus chapter 2, I'd like us to focus on this passage and see what we can learn from her life as recorded in Exodus chapter number 2. Well, the first lesson we learn from JOCHEBED is that there are moments to let go and trust God. JOCHEBED was expecting Moses during a very difficult time. You know, at this time, the Israelites were slaves in Egypt, and Pharaoh had ordered the midwives to kill Hebrew baby boys at delivery. When the midwives did not obey, Pharaoh got mad and he issued a new order that every Hebrew baby boy was to be thrown into the Nile. Well, the day of delivery came, and JOCHEBED gave birth to a son. She didn't know what to do. She loved the son so much, and so she decided to hide this little one for 3 months. And this is what Exodus chapter 2 and verse 3 says. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. With a mixture of fear and trust, she let go of precious little Moses and surrendered him, to God's care, so to speak. JOCHEBED did all she could to save her baby. She hid him for 3 months, but there is only so much she could do. Dear ones, I put it to us that there are moments in our lives when we have done all we can do and we can do no more, humanly speaking. There comes a time in our lives when we've done all we can do, when we have said all we can say, when we have tried all we can try, when we've prayed all the prayers we know, when we have done all the fasting we can, when we've sought all the help, we can. And all that remains is just to let go, because there is nothing more you can do but entrust the situation into God's hands. And as hard as letting go may be, it is important to realize that there are times when circumstances are way beyond our control, and we can do nothing but turn them over to God. Yes, there are moments to let go and trust God. Well, the second lesson we learn from JOCHEBED is that God is always at work, even in negative situations. I wonder who you would say is the main character in Exodus chapter 2. Who is the protagonist here? You might say it is the mother of Moses, who gets the ball rolling by putting her little bundle of joy on the Nile, so to speak. You might say it is Pharaoh's daughter, who makes the decision to spare the boy's life. You might even argue that it is the sister of Moses who orchestrates, the reunion of Moses and his mother, you could try to argue that it is actually Moses himself. But actually all that Moses does is to float and look cute. You know what? The main character, the main player in this story is God. And although God is not mentioned in the first 10 verses of Exodus that we read, he is certainly working behind the scenes to bring his purposes to pass. JOCHEBED didn't just happen to put Moses in the right spot along the banks of the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter didn't just happen to be at the river Nile at the time that Moses was there. Pharaoh's daughter didn't just happen to see the basket in which little baby Moses was lying. Little Moses didn't just happen to cry at the right time. And Pharaoh's daughter didn't just happen to have compassion on Moses. Miriam didn't just happen to be nearby. And, Miriam didn't just happen to offer, to get somebody to nurse the baby. And then, Pharaoh's daughter just happened to accept the offer. No. And, Pharaoh's daughter didn't just happen to have enough influence to save baby Moses' life. No. It is all orchestrated by God, who is at work, always at work, behind the scenes, even in negative situations, to accomplish his purpose. Dear ones, I want you to remember that even when God seems silent, he is always working behind the scenes for the good of his children. Well, the last lesson we learn from JOCHEBED is that God always rewards those who trust in him. Well, Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20 says, God is able to do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine according to his power that is at work within us. And in the case of Moses, God does immeasurably more than JOCHEBED had asked or imagined. After letting go, God works out things in such a way that he ends up rewarding JOCHEBED by allowing her to be paid in order to take care of her son. She is actually rewarded by being paid. How nice. JOCHEBED also had the reward of being the mother to Israel's great deliverer about 80 years later. And by the way, Moses turned out to be one of the greatest national leaders and legislators the world has ever known. And another great reward for the parents of Moses, that is Amram and JOCHEBED, is that they are listed among the heroes of faith in the biblical Hall of Faith. This is what Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 23 says. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born, because they saw he was no ordinary child, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. Yes, God greatly rewarded JOCHEBED for trusting him. And you know what? Even today, friend, God is able to reward those who fully trust in him. I challenge you, trust in the Lord.